regarding ice throws and blade failures that might injure or even kill. This is being considered in the new Grant County ordinance that is in the developing process right now. The previous ordinance has a 1,000-foot setback, which is too close for the public safety. And I have witnessed the ice throws in Minnesota smashing on the highway ahead of me, and that was over 1,500 feet that threw it. I think this permit should be denied until the new ordinance is finished. And I have some documents here. One of them is a study that shows the turbines operating at tip speed of 100 millimeters.
Mr. I'm going to stop you right here as a parliamentarian, and for the audience as well. The deadline for submissions of written testimony was Friday at noon, last Friday. We will take this information and we will include it as a document, but it will not be considered as part of the record. You can talk off of it, but the board will not be looking at it.
Well, I just saw some new faces here that I wanted to show.
I understand, but we just want to make sure everybody knows that the bylaws state that the Friday before this meeting is the last day for written testimony.
Oh, okay, all right.
You can talk off of it, we just won't.
Oh.
Are you gonna start his time over, or?
I stopped the clock, so
Okay.
I'm going to give you a little bit extra because I interrupted your flow.
Okay.
Thank you.
We just did a study about the blades throwing off, and there's another part of it that throws the ice off. This is pictures of the warning signs on one of the sites for throwing ice. This is one that was it smashed the cab of a truck when the ice hit. This was in Minnesota. I've turned these in other meetings. This is another one that shows where the ice throws can go. Okay, and then a new concern I have on a previous meeting is how many of our board and committees have property leased to the wind developers. In reviewing some of the site maps, I noticed how many participating parties lease some of their properties, but not where they live. Why not lease every parcel they own? I think I know the answer to my question. They care about their safety and well-being, but not mine. I want you to deny this permit. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to leave these with
I'll just take them. If you want them, we will take them. They won't be part of the legal record.
That's
but
okay.
They were in there before.
Well, I got one new
They're
one.
on, but anything that we take tonight goes into a pile that we're not looking at.
Okay.
The next name on the list is Mr. Kevin Krakow.
Kevin Krakow, 164.
I see that.
470th Strandberg, Troy Township. I'm a non-participating landowner by choice. I like my wide open spaces. Next era, what are they? Juno Beach, Florida, out-of-state company. We know this board's turned down other out-of-staters for other permits, like hog confinement. So what's the difference here? Well, I guess I won't get an answer, but I would like at the least 1 mile setback from property lines. Because in Tyler Wilhelm's own letter, he calls us a minority. We're such a minority, and it should be no problem putting this project through still, but giving us non-participants our setback. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, could we have a chair up there to use?
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah. And you may choose to stand or sit. It's up to your prerogative. The next name on the list is Mr. Bill Street.
Name is Bill Street, Melbank, 15761 Melbank, South Dakota. Good afternoon. I guess my main concern with these turbines, concern I have today is setbacks with them. Previous fellow just addressed that. I was gonna suggest 3/4 of a mile for non-participating residents, unless they sign a waiver and come to an agreement with the energy company that they can, but otherwise, why, I just feel that 1,500 feet is not a great enough setback for these huge turbines they're putting in. We had a good meeting, a tour there at a place in Minnesota here a month ago, and it was interesting, but we got to learn how the turbines are built and how they're serviced and that type of stuff, so it was very interesting, but the size of that turbine really doesn't apply to what we're dealing with nowadays. Another setback issue I'd like to address is that 500-foot setback from property lines. There could be a problem with the landowner by that property line. There could be a building, affect his building decisions in the future. So I feel that the energy company, that you should put in a condition that the energy company approach that non-participating resident and see what they can come up with. If they can't, if the non-participant doesn't want it at 500 feet, it should be placed at 1,500 feet. Or maybe they can come up with some sort of an agreement. I guess I feel that creating a little more distance should maybe address the sound issue a little bit too with these turbines. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Street. The next name on the list is Tim Lindgren.
Tim Lindgren, 16050 464th Avenue, South Shore, South Dakota. I always thought that wind power is green. After all, wind is free and natural. In fact, when you study the effects of wind towers and what goes into them, you will see just the opposite. You need a good wind, of course, for wind power. You also need petroleum and natural gas and coal. It takes tons of coal to make the steel for these giant towers. Petroleum for the blades. To keep everything inside the tower working smoothly, you need lubrication, which means oil. Making these towers requires tons of rare earth minerals which are mined in China. Obtaining these minerals creates major damage to the earth, mainly in China. Electric companies are forced to buy the non-constant electricity at a high price while still having to maintain a constant source of electricity to keep the grid running smoothly. Wind is not constant. Wind power negatively affects the health of animals and people due to the sound that you can hear and the sound that you can't. The flicker problem, underground vibrations, ice from the blades flying off, etc. To name a few are some of the problems caused by these towers. I was using tons of fossil fuels, rare earth mineral, and oil to make make and maintain these huge towers going green. They harm the environment, people's health, and the ecosystem. I hear people say things such as, we need green energy. The Lord gave us wind. We need to get these in as reasons for heeding people's request for a 2-mile setback from non-participating landowners' properties with a waiver, a 3-mile setback from wildlife nests. Please do the research and do not be fooled.
For the audience, I just wrote Tim's name on this. Next name on the list is Teresa Kaz.
Do I have to state my address or anything? Okay, 15610 459th Avenue, South Shore, South Dakota. The wind energy ordinance is open. This is your reason to deny this permit until a safe ordinance can be agreed upon. Legal action taken against County NextEra Energy. This was filed April 4th, 2015 in Colorado. On March 5th, 2015, the El Paso County Property Rights Coalition filed a lawsuit against the EPC Board of County Commissioners and NextEra Energy Resources regarding NextEra's amended wind farm project. At the February 5th, the Board of CC meeting, NextEra presented its proposed amendments. First, all the transmission lines that were previously owned by another wind company stated that they would be buried, and NextEra came in and said none would be buried. According to the lawsuit, the BOCC erred and abused its discretion and exceeded its jurisdiction when it approved the amended project. The lawsuit also claims the BOCC violated the plaintiff's state constitutional rights due to process of law by censoring the speech of individuals during the public comments segment of the February 5th BOCC meeting. The lawsuit also claimed that BOCC was acting under coercion and duress because of NextEra's threats demanding that the commissioner approve the project. Wind energy titan soaks up billions in tax subsidies. 887 turbines were here already. NextEra sues Michigan Rural Township and also Ellington Township. Let's see, the renewable energy company is worth $60 billion and hasn't paid federal income tax for the last 7 years. It's among the country's largest recipients of federal subsidies. It's also suing these small towns. Contractors of Amherst Island Wind Turbine Project own millions. This is not NextEra, but this is what can happen. There's a $32 million lien by wind turbines for construction contractors. So really, the property owner is ultimately responsible for paying the cost of all improvements to property, including cases involving the construction of wind turbine on the property. You can read that. Also, now I have here, this is filed 6/28/2018, NextEra Energy versus the United States of America. I'll let you read through that one. That should be I think. Thank you.
Thank you. The next name on the list is Ruby Holborn.
We at Dual County had heard Ruby Holborn, 2008 South Silverthorne Avenue, Sioux Falls. We in Dual County had heard Jim Nichols from Lake Benton, Minnesota, as we did last week at your Planning and Zoning meeting. At both counties, he bragged how great the economic development had been in Lincoln County because of wind energy. I disagree with him. They have had turbines there since about 1995. Keep in mind, they are much smaller than those planned for here. Since then, they have closed 3 high schools. Since then, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, their population has decreased. In fact, it has decreased at a faster rate than their neighboring Dual County. Of the 14 South Dakota counties with industrial wind turbines projects, all counties' populations have decreased except Brookings County. On the surface, it appears their population increase is because of Division 1 and industries. Many Dual County residents who have studied wind energy have moved. Some of their occupations are nurse, doctor of pharmacy, doctor of veterinary medicine, chemical engineer, civil engineer, mechanical engineer, veterans, agronomist, economist, homeschool educator, master quality control technician, and an attorney. Some have relocated to Harmony, Minnesota. This is nicknamed the sinkhole of the U.S. Hot Springs, South Dakota. Very little wind resource there, and their property is adjacent to the National Forest. Sioux Falls. This is where the politicians and the wind developers live. They will not live in a wind farm. Currently, a new home is being built on Highway 22, west of Clear Lake, beside a cemetery. The dead are given a further setback than the living. There is a message there. Cemeteries get a 1-mile setback, while rural residents get less. What setback should people with a heartbeat get? People will live, shop, pay taxes, or move elsewhere because, like here, the Planning and Zoning Board and county commissioners have caved to big wind. They have not done their job for their county to protect their health, safety, welfare, and property rights. If they do not, no one else will. This is a reality. This will not be an economic boom for your Main Street. This is a destruction of rural South Dakota like across the world. Be wary of the studies paid for by big wind. The results are often skewed and, of course, for their benefit. Wind Power magazine, dated July 13, 2017, by Jeff Yoders, wrote, quote, "Are 4 wind turbine failures in 5 weeks too many for NextEra Energy?" Unquote. Michigan blade snap. Nebraska turbine collapse. Iowa turbine fire. Blade fell in Oklahoma. 2 miles with a wave. Thank you.
Next name on the list is George Holborn.
My name is George Holborn, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Last week I visited with this board. Early on I realized in Grant County the concerns of their citizens are being ignored. At that very same time, what is being said by the wind developers is being taken at face value. For example, it was stated that wind energy is the cheapest electricity available. If the P&Z Board of Adjustment was educating themselves, this question could have been asked. Why does WAPA propose the ratepayers have a rate hike when they anticipate these wind projects are coming online? Another appropriate question would have been, why is sleeplessness the main problem for those forced to live among the turbines? The answer is, there is nothing like it in nature. The problem is the pulsation of what you can hear and infrasound what you cannot hear, but you can feel or sense. This is an example of bringing an industrial setting to a residential location. It is a given to cause problems. If you think First District guiding you through this process will save you or us from such problems, it seems to me not so. First District regards this as an economic development, not as a health, safety, welfare, and property rights issue. Concerned citizens have provided this P&Z Board of Adjustment with independent research. So you have the information available to do your job. This is to make decisions on behalf of those willing to or unwilling or unable to be here. Now, if you are unwilling or unable to do your job, then seek out independent expert testimony. It is far less expensive than lawyers are. You have a chance to get it right. Please embrace this opportunity. When I was on the Dual County P&Z Board of Adjustment, I encouraged my fellow board members to settle such matters before the courts are asked to decide. For me, I would much rather be sued by a wind developer for protecting my local citizens' health, safety, welfare, and property rights, as opposed to being sued for not protecting them. At a recent Dual County Commission meeting, I stated the day I joined hands with a wind developer, signed some sort of contract, I would have resigned. My point was then, as it is today, I can only have one master. I pointed out of the 12 county officials involved in the Dual County process, 8 are conflicted. Near the end of the process, a commissioner member asked 3 different wind developers, what are you willing to accept? This is exactly how you get it wrong. We need to consider a 2-mile waiver, 2-mile with a waiver. It's not just an idea, it's a solution. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next name on the list is Mr. Kevin Owen.
I think everybody can hear me. I'm used to talking loud. Kevin Owen, 46845 South Dakota Highway 20, Stockholm, South Dakota. First off, everybody pretty much knows me on this side of the room. I normally don't talk at these things, but I got a few things I want to say. First off, there's people that are for them, people that are against them. I'm friends with a lot of people that are sitting right here. I hate to see neighborly conflicts. And I want to personally say to the people that are family friends, this is not going to affect those relationships with us. It's a horrible thing to see. At the end of the day, we're still friends, we're still neighbors. With that being said, my house is located directly in the middle of all this. I purchased this place approximately 7 years ago. If I knew this was going to happen to me and my property, I would have not purchased this place. And I could, 9 out of 10 people are not going to want to buy my place if I put it on the market when these towers are built. Now, everybody has a right to do what they want on their property, and I respect that. But I should have a right too. I want these people that signed up, you know, if they're going to get some money out of it, that's good for them. I was approached to sign my land up. I did not want to sign my land up. That was my choice. So I did not do that. What's going to happen to my property values? Are you guys going to buy my place? I doubt it, because nobody is going to want to buy that place. I spent a lot of time and a lot of money, and a commission member said this summer, the land up in the hills aren't worth much money. That's a good place for them. Well, that's BS in my book, because I spend a lot of money and time building what I have and my family. So for that comment to be made was absolutely disgraceful. That land is worth a lot of money, and everybody out here knows that, and we slave for it. You can see I'm a little bit upset about this. I think there can be a compromise, and I welcome the wind tower guys. Come and visit with the non-participants. We can work out a setback. They mentioned 1 mile. That'd be great with me. 1,500 feet from my property line, that'd be great. One of my big concerns is I'm an avid deer hunter. What's this going to do for me and my kids? We need to think about these little things. Where am I at on time?
You got 30 seconds.
Two board members got up here and walked out. They've been sitting on this board for over a year working on this stuff, and now today They walked out. That is in conflict.